Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Ed Bilat here from Ottawa, Canada. So I see people just joining up. Welcome, welcome. If you can hear me, and could you please put a plus sign in the chat box? The chat box is on the bottom of your screen. Okay, great. So welcome, Nico, Dan, Julian, Rick, Anthony, George. Okay, great. So if you cannot hear me, put the minus sign. Okay. Okay, if you can see me, please put the plus sign now. Okay, excellent, excellent, welcome. So let's just give 1 more minute and we will start. There's a lot of people on the call. So, excellent, welcome, welcome. I can see your slide, but not you personally, says Tim. Tim, can you see me now? Yes, perfect, welcome. Welcome to the show. All right, how's everybody doing? Right, good here in Chicago. Yeah, so probably a little bit warmer than in Ottawa. All right, okay, excellent. Okay, so I see a lot of people joining us now. So let's roll. So, okay. Maxime from Montreal, welcome. Bharat, welcome. So how many of you can see video as well? I'm not as important as slides and as my voice, but how many of you can see the video as well? Video is visible, Doug, plus sign, Warren, Rick. Okay, so at least 3 people can see me. I think that's enough. All right, again, welcome to the webinar. So I want to make it as valuable as it possible. I know your time is very valuable. So a couple of housekeeping items before we start. So first of all, if you could please turn off your email, your phone, instant messaging. So I know we're all working from home. It's very, very challenging. So hopefully you knew about this webinar and the people at your house knew you having that webinar. If you have earphones, please put them on so you don't disturb them as well. So, and please give me that undivided attention. So please ask questions in the Q&A box, which is at the bottom of the screen, or your general comments could go in the chat box, which I'm gonna try to see on the other screen. My team is actually checking this as well, because I'm not that talented to present and read at the same time, but I will do my very best, I promise. And probably the most important thing is to participate. So we're spending this hour together, so I want it to be very, very valuable for you. All right, so a little backstory while we starting. So this is a historic picture. And the reason I say it, this is officially my very last workshop, which I've done at Calgary before coronavirus came. So fabulous time, excellent group. So we had so much fun. Everybody excited, pumped up. Probably one of the best sessions I actually had in all these years. And then I got so excited, I actually rented a car and I drove to Banff. I broke a windshield in the process, but that's a minor detail. But I managed to record a bunch of training videos right at Lake Louise. I was very excited, just perfect, as good as it goes. And then, of course, I got on the plane, and as soon as we landed in Ottawa, the whole world shut down completely. So all our international events, speaking events, have been canceled indefinitely. All domestic speaking events have been canceled as well. And all the training workshops been canceled indefinitely. So, and I went from that high expectations of life and, you know, new wave, right to this, right? So like, what am I gonna do? So like everything is canceled. So, but, and that was somewhat predictable, but what actually struck me the most is the change, the speed of change, how fast all this happened. So if you look at this picture on the left, and for those who came to my workshops before, you've probably seen it many times. This has actually been filmed inside Sistine Chapel in Vatican City. So in 2005, we just have that one little camera on the bottom of the screen. And then, of course, mobile revolution came, 2013. Everybody is using phones. So it took us 8 years to get there. As a contrast, the difference between two pictures on the right, which is in Rome, is, well, it's only 1 day. So completely 1 day. So when we went from the vibrant, lively city to nothing, empty. And unfortunately, it continues. So let me ask you this. So how many of you feeling like this? So just share it if you can. So how many of you feel it that no one is buying, everything is closed, and what actually a big issue for a lot of you is that I don't want to be insensitive. Like I don't want to call on people, I don't want to sell anything because it's just not the right time. So how many of you feel this way? So please share in the box. Yes, I had to create a momentum for myself and with customers. Yeah, that's a good one, Tim. So do you have a feeling that it's just nobody's buying, and then no matter what you do, they're just not gonna buy? Right? So that everything is closed, and so Warren, need to figure out how to pivot. We've been lucky so far. Anthony, good for you. So I'd love to hear your story, how you've done that. That would be great to know. So Rick, somewhat. Okay, excellent. So like obviously before registering, I actually got you guys details, like what is the most challenging thing for you. And we put them on this one sort of Word file. So these are all the words you used when registering for this workshop. And the way it works, the bigger the word, the more concerned you guys about this, okay? So like right away, I see sales, new clients, I see COVID, I see during, customers, downturn, selling, and so forth. So, so like these are your concerns, and my job today is to address most of them if I can. But it's very important to know what's on your mind, because like we're all in the same boat here. All right, so like this is probably one of my favorite quotes from Charles Darwin. He actually said this, it's almost more than 200 years ago. But it's not the strongest of species that survives, and not the most intelligent, but the most responsive to change. And by God, we've had so much change. I actually haven't seen that much change in my life. And a lot of people, like older people than me I'm talking to, they've never seen that much change in their lives. So we have to change. So this workshop, it's for 3 sort of personas I'm trying to talk to. So it will be very valuable for business owners, sales reps, and for sales leaders. So I'll try to make it very, very approachable and very relevant to all 3 categories. So, and as for success for today, specifically, so like this is what success looks like for me. I'm not here to teach you how to do anything, okay? Because a lot of you have a lot of experience, like with some very senior people on the call. I'm here to provoke your thinking give you some ideas and let you look from a different angle at the problems you're facing. And then at the end of the workshop, I'm going to ask you to provide one idea, just one, something you can actually implement in your business, something which you can actually help you. Okay, because you can say, okay, Ed, this was okay, this was not actually relevant, but this is what I'm going to implement for my business. Okay, so be ready as we go through the material and through the entire presentation, pick up at least one idea. Okay, and I'm actually on a mission here because I am. This is not your typical sales webinar. I'm actually going to violate every principle of the selling webinar, because typically, and I'm sure you've been through them, so like they give you a little bit of value in the beginning, and the rest of it is just sell, 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 buy my product, buy my course. I'm not gonna do this. And in fact, a little backstory, last week I had a meeting with my advisor, and so he told me, okay, Ed, make sure you don't give them everything, because if you give them all the information, they will simply leave and you'll never hear from these people again. And I said, like, as much as I respect you, I don't buy this. Okay, so like we're probably facing one of the worst economic crises in history. So this is not the time to play games or hide anything. I'm gonna go all in, I'm gonna deliver, I'm not gonna hide any techniques, and I'm gonna do this absolutely free. Okay, so this is my commitment to you. The only thing I'm gonna ask you, if at the end of the workshop, if you could fill out the 2 minutes feedback survey, just 2 minutes of your time, fill out the feedback survey. And for the people who will stay toward the end and actually fill out that survey, I'm gonna throw in 3 things. I'm gonna send you my book, which is Storytelling for Sales, absolutely free. I'm gonna give you access to my private Facebook group where other sales ninjas actually sharing their secrets on a daily basis. And this is where I put my most valuable content first. And also I'm gonna send you the recording of this workshop. Does that sound like a good deal? Please say yes. I'm gonna watch your comments. Yes, team, yes. So does that seem fair? Rick, yes. James, Nico, thank you for doing this. Absolutely, Nick. Maxine, yes. Matthew, yes. Okay, good stuff, Charbel. Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, so thank you for supporting this, because I have a trust in my audience. So they're not just takers, they're givers as well. So like this is what I told to my advisor, and I want to prove him wrong. Okay, so I'm on a mission here. Okay, so for those who don't know anything about me, just quickly, so at Bilat, 25 years in sales. I've been a telemarketer, sales manager, sales director, a VP, the president. I've made so many mistakes in my sales career. I don't even want to talk about it. Industries, well, actually, I do want to talk and share. Industries, telecom, wireless, software, optics, high tech. Deals, I sold anything from $17 a month to multi-million-dollar contracts with companies like HP, Walmart, Santander Bank, JP Morgan Chase. Team function, I've led inbound teams, outbound teams, account executives, technical sales, marketing, and I've done some sales recruiting as well. So, but most importantly, the last 5 years, my firm was able to train over 1,000 sales reps globally. And this is what I'd like to share with you, like all the experience and all the changes we have seen within the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So some companies we work with, it's a range from a small, medium size, all the way to Fortune 500. That's why the techniques I want to share with you, these are used by the world leading customers and who actually having a success. So I'm not gonna hide, I'm actually gonna tell you exactly what they're doing and where they have success or where they struggle. Sounds good? All right, so let's dive in. So this is a simple agenda I put for today. So this is what we're gonna do for the next 30, 40 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm just kidding, okay? I do not know who drew this slide. I don't even know what it means. I don't understand it. What I don't know that during the time of crisis, you don't need complicated solutions. And if you talk to any military personnel or any hospital personnel, they have maximum 4 or 5 steps in any procedure they do. So that's why, like last week, there's one of the big consulting companies we work with, and they only use 3 words for the strategy, 3 words. And these words are these: stop, start, and continue. That's all. So you can laugh at this, but this is how they actually approach and consult. So stop certain things, like what are we gonna stop? We're not doing this anymore. Start, what process, what techniques, what procedures we should start, and which ones we should continue. Stop, start, continue, entire strategy. All right, so, and this is the approach I'd like to take with you guys. I wanna give you something simple and something very, very actionable. Sounds good? All right. So for those who came to my workshops before, the process of influencing and selling have not changed with coronavirus. It's basically this, that before you sell anything, you try to convince somebody. So this is that little simple process we follow. So first of all, you gotta get to the mindset of the person you're talking to. Like, where are they coming from, right? Their mindset. How you do that? You ask a lot of questions and you listen to them aggressively. Because before you tell your story, you need to understand who's in front of you. And then you tell your story. So, and then I don't care how good storyteller you are gonna run into objections. And objections actually is a good thing. It's an indication that they wanna have a conversation with you. And then, and only then, you go to negotiation and then to closing. So in other words, like, this is where you sell, and this is where you close, because what you don't want to do, you don't want to start talking price and terms, like be here at the negotiation stage, and then they tell you, well, actually, all the budgets are frozen, or I'm not a decision maker, or call me back in 6 months, or we actually don't like your product. All of that has to be addressed here at the objection handling stage before you move to negotiation. Like, this is the usual framework. Now let's look how that changes in the current environment. So, like, I want to look at this through 3 simple things. It's called 3M. It's very catchy process. So I want to talk about only 3 things: about markets, what is actually happening and what kind of trends you can see currently. So who is surviving and who is struggling, who is doing okay, and who is actually going up. Then I want to talk about sales metrics, what you should actually track on daily basis and what the leading companies are doing. And the last one, where I want to spend most of our time, is actually the message. How do you reach out? Inbound, outbound. What do you say? New account, existing account. Like, how should you tailor your particular message? Okay, sounds good. So we're going to talk about all these 3 things. And again, I want to spend on messaging probably most of the time. So markets, matrix, message. So here we go, pretty simple, right? So message, so the new reality check. What are the major changes in emerging trends? Like, what do we see? So there's basically, from my analysis, there are 3 types of clients or customers right now. The ones who are adapting quickly. So these would be probably like taxi companies who all of a sudden became a delivery services, or restaurants which all of a sudden became catering businesses. So they're adapting very, very quickly. Then there's the business as usual. So typically these are like a large IT companies or financial companies. And then you call them and talk to them, they act like nothing happened, right? They say, oh, it's fine, nothing changed, we're okay. So they're just waiting for the disaster to happen. It would be like a next blockbuster, in my opinion. And then there's a bunch of companies which are basically frozen. Last week, I talked to a gentleman. He actually owns a bunch of clubs in New York City, nightclubs. So like, that's one side of the business. And then he also has a bunch of like mansions, like really big houses, which he rents on Airbnb, like charges $3,000–4,000 a night. So both sides of his business have been completely shut down, and he's paying very high mortgages on these properties, and he's completely just out of his mind. He doesn't know what to do. Has all this real estate, which is making absolutely zero money. So when you're reaching out, please try to figure out which buckets of clients you're calling. because your messaging will depend hugely based on that. Okay, so just curious, what industries do we have on the call? So what do we have? If you could put them in the chat box while I take a sip of water. Okay, B2B, sports and entertainment, commercial roofing, construction management. Harat, perfect. Video marketing, Warren, great. Staffing firm to government, commercial roofing, corporate training, fundamentals of communication, excellent. Okay, okay. So sports and education, IT. Okay, so there's a good range. IT and mobility management, excellent, excellent. Okay, okay. So that's really good. So I saw this graph. It's by that consulting company called Moody's. So I think they've done a good job. If you look at this, then you see high exposure businesses, which businesses have been affected the most, with your apparel, auto manufacturers, auto suppliers, gaming industry, and of course travel, like lodging, passenger airlines, retail would be on the right side. Right, then so this is high exposure. Moderate would be beverages, chemicals, manufacturing. Medium, oil and gas, which is actually more now than before, like last week, still produces moderate exposure. And then there's a low exposure, like construction material, defense, rental, packaging, pharmaceuticals, real estate, and telecom. Waste management is doing really well actually too. So like why do I put this for you guys? So this is not just to say, oh, okay, so like I'm only gonna call on construction guys, or I'm only gonna call on defense. So this is actually to think what your clients should be talking to. Right? They may not be directly in these areas, but you can actually see and try to figure out what businesses they're dealing with, because it could be a high exposure business, but they are customers located in a low exposure. So that wise you can still do business with them, right? So, and what's even better, if you can call them with an advice, how you see how they could get customers, that would be even better. Okay, so there's that little helpful graph. And again, businesses which experiencing huge growth right now: e-commerce, grocery delivery services, huge, meal delivery services, booming, video conferencing, like you can't even get these items like webcams, headphones on Amazon, some of them completely depleted the stock. Home entertainment is big, home exercise equipment, online counseling, any kind of hobbies at home, and then online learning and course platforms. This company is experiencing huge growth right now. Okay, so like I know if you're gonna call on VP of sales for Zoom, I doubt they're gonna talk to you right now because it's been skyrocketing. So again, look at this and try to figure out which of these could be a good solution for your customers, or maybe you can market to this and sell to this directly. Okay, so selling to big corporation is big all of a sudden. So they have to completely change their model because everybody doing the work remotely. Okay, and all of their stuff is remote. They're more open to working with the small and medium businesses and with freelancers, because there's not much difference between an employee sitting at the house and a freelancer. So that's a good opportunity. Baby boomers have been trained now for 5 weeks to shop online. When the whole thing comes out, so like, do you think they're gonna go back to the stores? A lot of them will continue to shop online. Very lucrative market as well. So, and these are some of the categories where we're seeing huge growth. Like here, like everything else, like looks, of course, connected to the virus, but bread machines, 652% change in growth. Like apparently everybody likes to make bread at home. So I was surprised by that. These are the biggest winning categories. So there's luggage and suitcases, that's expected. Briefcases, cameras, minus 64% compared to last year. And then it looks like men's swimwear, like men gave up swimwear and the formal wear altogether, right? And there's certainly not many weddings happening. So these are the trends of how we've been affected. So obviously, these are the winners. So you'll see Amazon, packaged food, disinfectants. But like, why do I tell you all this? It's like one of my favorite quotes is from Tony Robbins, that if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is to find somebody who's already doing this and just model them. So let's look at the businesses who are actually succeeding in this, because this is very motivating and close to me, and I think will be applicable to you guys. So COVID-19 defense. So this company called Spiffy. So what they do, it's like a car wash, and they completely changed the model. Now they come to your house and they can clean your house and disinfect your house or disinfect your car. All right, booming. Because a lot of people want to do this, obviously with precautions, but they actually come and disinfect it. So Guerrilla Tacos, this is just a little restaurant. Now they're providing emergency kits. For 149 bucks, you can buy a kit, which is good for about 60 tacos. And you can use them with your friends if you want to send it to them, or you can keep them in your house for emergencies. What is that? Cherry Block, which is actually a steakhouse in downtown Houston. All of a sudden, they sell their food at the local grocery store. Like you can get their soup, you can get their steak, which was unheard before. And then this is very motivating to me. 3D printed face shields. This company called Markforged, which used to make toys actually, but now they use 3D printing to do the field protection. Very hot item, and they're donating on that as well. And there's a bunch of other examples, like brew beer. So they retooled their assembly line, and now they're manufacturing sanitizer. And by the way, they're doing it free of charge. And their slogan is "We know alcohol." Okay, so they're manufacturing the line. It took them just a little time to redo it. Then there's that digital concert, which is huge in Europe. It's called Digital. They went completely online, and they had a huge success with it, just as good as live events. And then there's that little picture in the left corner. It's a farmer in Netherlands. He sells spinach. Okay, and nobody wants to buy spinach from him now. So he just put this little shack and organized a drive-through where they're safely serving spinach. You can still buy it without leaving your car and maintaining the safe distance. So this is all very motivating to me. So like car manufacturers, every car manufacturer is making ventilators now. So Tesla started this, GM started this, now BMW and Mercedes doing this in Europe. And then I was just sitting in my head thinking, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, how are we gonna survive? So I was thinking, if these guys could do it, like, I'm sure I can find something for my business model, right, to survive. And this is what probably was actually got me over the hump. This is a travel agency, high tech, right? So it was a little startup, and they got completely shut down, just completely shut down after the COVID-19. So their director, he put that message online. He says, okay, we have a very talented sales team with SDR and a manager. Would you like to rent us? We have the infrastructure, we have the skills, we've been trained, we can sell any product, any service, just give us a call. I don't want to fire my people because they're good. You can rent us and actually outsource us for any kind of task. And I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it was really, really creative to keep your team alive, keep your business alive, and at the same time, provide value to the society. So here is what I decided to do. So I decided that if I cannot do face-to-face training, so we got to go online. So, and it became no big deal. So my meetings became Zoom video calls. My stage interviews became podcasts, and live workshops we actually substituted with the live online workshops. And of course, there is no way in hell to keep 40 salespeople on a Zoom call for 8 hours. So you cannot do it in one day, how we used to. But now we're doing it at 4 days at 2 hours each. And we've done it 2 weeks ago. It works really, really well. So people are happy because everybody gets a recording and they get a break. in between. So there is a way to go around this. So my question to you, so how can you adapt? Type in the chat box, any ideas so far? How can you adapt your business model so far? Like just a few, just whatever comes in mind. Okay. Okay, can you guys still hear me okay? Can you still hear me okay? Okay, Zoom meeting with clients, online delivery, sell work at home feature, Parat, focus on new verticals and business strategies. Okay, team can hear me okay? So face-to-face sales have been replaced by Zoom. Yes, Anthony, same thing is here. Focus on providing implementation services for SaaS software. Yes, okay. Richard, go. Okay, okay, good. So again, this is just to get you ideas going. All right, so let's keep going. So we talked about markets, so hopefully got a few inspiration. I certainly got it. So let's talk about matrix. Matrix, so here is the deal. Every time I wake up in the morning, I ask myself, what do I actually control? Like, do I control how many people gonna get infected today? Or do I control what government is gonna do next? No, I cannot control these things, but I try to focus on what I can actually do. Can I get out of bed and make my own bed? Yes, check. Can I put out a workout short and do my workout? Yes, check. And I don't know how it works, guys, but as soon as you do 2 or 3 of this, all of a sudden you start feeling that you mean something. You can actually do things and you can control them. I don't know how it works on the metaphysical level. I guess I understand it, but it's just a simple act of doing 2, 3, 4 things with a checkbox. Check, check, check. And that gives an energy for the entire day. So same thing goes for sales matrix. Okay. So like this is the sales velocity equation, and I'm sure a lot of you've seen it. And there's a millions of ways how you can track sales performance, but it all boils down to these 4 things. So your sales velocity is actually an equation. So you multiply number of opportunities you have by the dollar value of the deal, by the percentage of winning, and then you divide all this by the length of the sales cycle. Only 4 variables. Okay, so this has been around forever. And actually everything is driven by that little equation. So a good question to ask yourself, what do I actually control in this? Do I control the length of the sales cycle? Probably not, because everybody's gonna delay by 2-3 months. Like, you have no control over it. Do I have a control over the size of the deal? If you own your own business, yes, probably. But if you are but if you are working for a company sets the pricing for you, so like you cannot do much. Win rate, yes, so depends on the salesmanship, depending on the level of relationship you have with your clients, so you can do it. So usually we do prospect to qualified about 30%, qualified to a client 30%. These days it's probably around 15-20% if you're really good, or lower. So, and that only leaves us with this variable, which is the number of opportunities. So this one is you do control, and simply increasing by the number of opportunities, becomes a number game. All of a sudden, you can play with this simply by working with one variable. So, and everything you do after, like all these things we can track, the percentage of prospective, what are the responses by email, by phone, by mail, how many calls I've done, how many emails I sent, how many qualified meetings. So everything is driven by that little formula. So, and the way I look at it, if I can make up my own bed, I can control the number of opportunities I can put in the pipeline. This is where directly my efforts corresponds to the outcomes. And this is what the businesses who've been the most successful in this transition, like this is what they're doing. So something to think about it. Okay, so sales velocity formula, I recommend you track it on daily basis. And then if you see if that number goes down, So first week, not be so concerned. Second week, be concerned. The third week, if it goes low down, if it keeps going down, be very concerned, because this is an indicator of pretty much everything. Okay. All right. So does this make sense, guys? So is that formula? I don't want to put too much complication, but does this make sense so far before we jump into messaging? Yes, yes, yes. Good, good. Suzanne, absolutely. Richard. Okay, great. Okay, so we talked about markets, we talked about matrix, and let's really concentrate for the rest of the time we're spending together on messaging, because this is where the most challenges come in. All right, so first of all, there's that notion of real empathy versus fake empathy. And then I strongly advise that, you know, be real. And actually, it's a funny story. Then the whole COVID-19 started, so people were just continuing with their regular calling, with the regular email templates. And then everybody stopped, and all of a sudden, every message you receive now, it starts, "I hope you and your family are okay." And then they jump right to the value proposition, buy my product. This is what I call a fake empathy. Like, and if I see something like that, a subject line, COVID-19, like I don't even read it. I don't know how about you guys, but our customers, they could smell something is wrong right away. So like my first advice is to be really empathetic and actually care about your customers. Don't just pretend it, because people are extremely sensitive and emotions are running very high right now. So they will find out that if this is a fake. Okay. So, and the purpose of communication is not what you say, but is what you cause as a result of it. So our buyers, like, just try to get in understanding their world. So like they used to be here, and now they're here at home. And for some people can multitask and they're okay working from home, but for most of them it's a nightmare, because you don't work from home, you stay at home trying to get some work done. And when you call them, try to imagine this guy who's interrupted by kids, by noise, you know, groceries, fears. So it's not that corporate guy you're calling anymore. Yeah, and the thing is, people answering phones like crazy now. Like, it's probably never before in the human history we've seen so much attention and actually so much traction. So people want to talk. And you know, some people I'm reaching out, like it took me years to reach them. All of a sudden now they're available. You can talk to anybody, as long as it's real. So people will talk to you. And I think here, this is where the golden rule versus platinum rule applies the most, right? So like if you've been to my workshops, we talk about this all the time. So what's the golden rule? Treat others the way you want to be treated. And it worked really well for about 1,000 years. But now the rule have changed. The new rule is the platinum rule, which is treat others the way they want to be treated. So just think about it, just a little change. Treat others the way they want to be treated. So when you're calling this guy, right, so like try to figure out like what is in their world. So they're no longer in that corporate box, they're at home, multitasking. And try to treat them the way they want to be treated. So that's the best advice probably I could give you that. And this is something I'm going to say. If we have any VP of business owners, you probably kill me for this, but this is what I think, that the sales job is not to sell your product or service. No, it's not. Your job is actually to help your clients to keep their clients. Help your clients to keep their clients. You have to think the other level, especially now. And if you can help them, they'll buy anything from you. So then you will become that trusted advisor, as much as I hated that cliche. But you will, because nobody else is doing this. So reconnect. And then you reconnect, don't just try to sell them right away. So it's just a simple question. Are you okay? Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help? And on the first call, especially to a brand new account, I would not even go into a sales pitch. Just a human connection. Are you okay? And then the real empathy without having any angle. Okay. I would not recommend bait and switch ever. and specifically now. So if you just want to talk, yeah, like that COVID-19 really sucks. By the way, we have that little promo going on. If you buy 3, we get you 5. Like, don't do that. So you will probably destroy your relationships forever. So if you do that, and as I said, like remove that COVID-19 from your subject line. It became really, really annoying last couple of days. Okay, so trying to anticipate what do our customers need today in the next 90 days going forward. So I'm gonna sip of water. Okay, so like this is a letter of persuasion. Where are you on this letter today right now? Are you at rapport? Are you consulting? Are you selling? Are you negotiating? So please type in the box. Just pick one of the customers, one of the accounts you're working with, like where are you on this letter? Okay. Rapport, Nika rapport, James rapport. Okay, so that's a start. Matthew, team, all of them, all of the above. Suzanne consulting, Richard consulting. Okay. So Bharat rapport. Okay, yes. So basically, we all love to get to the selling and negotiation stage. So, however, consulting became completely critical. And again, I don't like the term trusted advisor or consultant, but this is the stage where magic happens. This is where the trust is being built. So, and majority of our time will be spent here, especially at this moment of time. This is when I'm working with clients. So like best in the world are spending their time in the consulting stage of the business. Keep this in mind. So couple of the best practices. This is probably one of the best ones I've seen so far. So like things to do. Have your CEO, your owner, make a personal call to the existing customers. Work really well, especially if you're a large company. So call them up, have a personal conversation directly from the top. Okay. Some companies, they even, like it was one company out of Singapore last week. So they actually set up 800 hotline for the existing clients. So if you are a client, you have a direct access to me. So call us, okay? Call the existing clients. So like existing clients can call you anytime. We're here to support you. We are open for business. This is a message. We're open for business. We're not shutting down. We're here to support you. Call us. This is 800 number. Another cool idea I've seen actually this week is to set up a Zoom meeting with your VP of sales or sales leader, whomever you have, and then pick 5 key customers and go over the priorities. Have kind of like a mastermind because they're worried. They're worried extremely at the extreme level. So invite 5 of your customers, your VP of sales, one of the executives, and have that just mastermind session where you can brainstorm the ideas and if nothing else, just share your concerns. Nobody else is doing it, but this is extremely powerful. Why? Because not only you will keep these 5 customers, but you can go to the next step, which is you can call your prospects who fit the same persona of the 5 people who came to your meeting and say like, hey, listen, we just had this great meeting last week with the 5 of our key customers. This is what they tell us. This is what's in their world. These are their concerns. Is it true for you? Yes or no? Like, and this is extremely powerful message versus, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Yeah, we want to get your business. Like, what is gonna take? Like, come on, man, help me out, right? Like, you see the difference? I think it's huge. I think it's a really innovative and then at the same time human approach, because customers, they're trying to decide: are you nice to have or are you must have? Because if you must have, you basically helping with 2 things. You're reducing the costs or you're mitigating the risk. You got to do these 2 things in order to qualify to be a must have. Everything else, yeah, it's cool, but now it's not the right time. And primarily, the most important thing is probably to stay connected. So these are the best practices I want to share with you. Okay, so this is another one of my favorite quotes, but people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that human empathetic behavior will not be forgotten. When the whole world will open up, and I believe it will, so they will remember people versus just calling them then and say like, well, where have you been for 5 months? Like, we don't know who you are, right? So some other best practices. I would strongly recommend is to know your customers' priorities. So like, this is an example. If you're selling for federal government, for example, so list all the executives and then just pick 1, 2, or 3 of their priorities. Like what is, these are easy to find. Just Google, CFO, government, COVID-19, and then you'll find their priority and Google will give it to you. So this is their world. When you're calling on that account, you're not just trying to, manipulate or come up with something. You know exactly what's on their mind. Right? So like, this is for government, or same thing you can do for oil and gas. Just pick 3 priorities. Okay, so this is step 1. So step 2, pick out of this, like, whom you're exactly gonna call on, like who is making decisions. So in our world, in the training world, so I'm trying to reach VP of sales, CRO, or VP of enablement. And I know exactly like these 3 or 4 things will be on their mind when we're reaching out. Okay. And then here is a simple formula which works like magic. So you take your target persona, you add their trigger or priority, and then you combine it with your solution. And so all 3 ingredients, kind of like a kitchen recipe. So that creates a pattern interrupt. So, or attention grabber. You can use one of these words. So then you combine all 3, so all of a sudden your message becomes valuable. So for example, when I'm reaching out, I could say, like, I want to talk to VP of sales, who is actually my persona, with the main priority on focus on growth. Right? I know about that. They can use our virtual training, which is my solution, to do what? To get reps ramped up and producing results immediately. This is the outcome of dealing with my company. So when you go with a message like that, it's way much better because it combines all 3, all 3 ingredients for the result. Does it make sense? Say yes. So I just give you an example. So if I'm calling, or one of my guys calling, so we're typing an email, so the message will be something like that. Hey Simon, I was researching your company. Okay, I'm paying attention. So, and I've read about the biggest history, like the biggest quarter in history with you guys before the coronavirus. And this prompted me to reach out because we work with the fast growing companies just like yours to ensure their reps can start producing results right away out of their boot camp. So who is the best person to talk about this? So you see here, we combine all 3 elements into one powerful statement because Simon will know I actually paid attention. I actually studied about, I know something about their business. I know about his priorities or her priorities, and I know that they just had the biggest quarter. And I'm connecting my solution with the priorities with the triggering event, all 3 together. And I'm asking for help. So like, okay, I'm not putting you on the spot. So who is the best person to talk about this? All right, so pretty powerful. So some other things like I want to mention, we're getting toward the end. So, okay, so you get somebody on the phone and they tell you, okay, yeah, so Ed, thank you for calling us, but we're not making any decisions right now. It's a nightmare. So we're just not gonna do this. Okay, totally understand this. I appreciate you spend the time with me. And then there's that magic question. I actually got it from John Barrows. So I think it's a really good question. How can I stay in touch without being annoying? How can I stay in touch without being annoying? A very human question. And then they tell you how, right? So they'll tell you, okay, so like feel free to call me, every 2-3 weeks, touch base. Okay, the next question is like, what kind of information I can send you? So I'd like to be helpful. And sometimes they tell you that, or sometimes you can offer it. They say, okay, at our company, we really put a lot of attention to 1, 2, and 3. Which one of them would be the most relevant? Because I'd like to send you information on that. And they give you that permission to reach out, right? So like 2 tools I want to recommend here. So one is Sales Navigator and another one is something called Feedly. So I highly recommend both of them. I don't get any commission for mentioning them, just full disclosure. I just use them and find them useful. So Sales Navigator, very simple. You go there and you set up alerts on the companies or businesses you wanna track. So right here, like we've done some business with TD and we're looking at Shopify. So right away, so like they send me every day an alert that Shopify is too hard to handle some analysis. Like so TD analytics, so they tell me that. So isn't that a good way to reach out to all the contacts at Shopify and mention that, hey guys, so I just heard that TD cannot even evaluate you guys because you're doing so good, right? Just an idea. Or you can actually go and open a tab and you can tag individual people whom you want to see what they shared on social media or like what kind of news they have in their life. Very, very powerful. This is how you listen to your network. Like you listen to what's going on and then you can immediately act. So this is Sales Navigator. So Feedly is a news aggregator. This is actually a terrific tool to follow up and to send the information once you ask that question, how do I stay in touch without being annoying? Okay, so it's completely free to set up, and this is how it looks. So you basically go in, you set up the areas of interest, something they mentioned in a conversation. So they say, okay, well, yeah, I'm really paying attention to leadership, or I'm into marketing. And then you just pick all these news feeds, and then you collect a bunch of free resources, and every day, so it will start aggregating. So instead of going to 20 different websites, so it will send it to you, which looks just like an email here, like all the news. And I would just maybe spend 30, 45 minutes in the morning and kind of read them. And when you see an article, try to think, okay, who could use this article? Like, so like, for example, like if like one of the persons I spoke last week, they say, well, I'm really looking for a career. I want to become a CEO. I see this article, it is a podcast. I'll go listen to that. And then I will send it. It says, okay, Jim, I think this would be relevant. By the way, and you can put a little comments and then just send it without any call to action. I'm just helping you out. You know, I just thought it would be relevant. Boom. Or, for example, here, there's another one. A lot of companies trying to learn how to sell on video. So at least 4 of my prospects mentioned this. I'm going to send them this article because all you do, you go to these little icons on the right. So you can, first of all, you can tweet it to your own network and let everybody know that you actually find it valuable. And you can go to LinkedIn, or what's more powerful, you actually click on that little envelope and it will create an email. So it will open your email client, and then you can send it to the key people with a little note. Now, of course, don't send like a 35-page book, which is completely irrelevant, and expect them to deal with it. Right, so because they will just roll their eyes. Or if you do send an ebook like that big, at least summarize it. Hey Jeff, I thought these 3 points. This is a great book for you to read, and these are 4 things like which would be particularly relevant. What do you think? And just send it without any expectations. You're helping them out. And so this little thing, Feedly, again, free to create an account. Will let you to navigate and saves you actually a lot of time to see what's going on and share that content. Sounds good? All right. So we're getting toward the end. So like I'm gonna jump into questions real quick. So like is anything in particular? So please feel free to continue asking me these. So, all right, so what do I have here? Okay, so there's a question on objections. So how do you deal with objections? Something like we are in a lockdown. Okay, so that's a good question because I think would be relevant to my objections. So basically there are different techniques how you can handle objections. So the first one is to qualify it. So for example, when you say, okay, lockdown, can you explain it to me? What do you mean? Is this a physical lockdown where everything is shut down, or you guys still working from home? Right? And if you are, would it be a value to have that conversation now? Right? So you can ask. So second, then you can use the like a different, say like that, feel, felt, found. It's been around forever. Of course, I wouldn't use all the words exactly like feel, felt, found, because, but this is basically like a case study. So thank you for sharing this. I appreciate you letting me know. I won't even pretend I understand how you feel. It must be really hard. So 2 months ago, we dealt with the same company, with the same size, and this is what we've done, and these are the end results. So feel, felt, found. And of course, when I learned this technique, I used it word by word. And then they told me, okay, so don't just feel, felt, found me. So because a lot of executives actually know that technique. So be careful. But that would be my approach. So you clarify the question first, and then go to your story library, right? So at my trainings, I talk a lot about this, where you have all these books which are already written for you. And then you just pick up a book, but not just in any book, a book which is specifically designed and actually been rehearsed and trained for this particular question. Then you borrow that book and you tell your story in this case study, which would be in this case here. Others felt the same way. Like this is where you tell the story. And this is you describe what you've done, and this is the end result. So this is one of the potential. So just how would you handle the objection handling technique? So we talked about 3 things. So markets, message, and matrix. I'll jump on the Q&A in a second, but before that, or if any people need to go because we're right at the very end. So like I ask you to, at the end of the workshop, to put together like one big idea. What can actually you take it for your business? If you could please type this in the chat box. So what out of everything we discussed today, so markets, matrix, message. So what would be one idea you would be your biggest takeaway? So Sales Navigator leads tools and Feedly. Okay, I'm glad you like it, Bruce. Remote story capture process, team, really good. Okay, one thing, something you can implement right away. Something says, okay, Ed, this is relevant to my business. This is what I want to do. Be real and show empathy. Feedly, very clear document priorities for each role. Yes, it's actually easy to create this, Richard. So Google is our best friend. The platinum rule for Arthur. Okay, yeah, treat others the way they want to be treated. Okay, so some good ideas here. Excellent. All right, so before I go to the Q&A, so this will return. So the medical crisis will pass. I know that, and it's up to us, to salespeople, and I think this is actually a mission of the salespeople, is to help our customers to navigate through these times. If any of you remember 9/11, one of the first things that people were saying, okay, go buy something, like go spend $200. I don't care what it is, just spend it, because this is how you revive the economy. And this is exactly the same mission we have now. So we gotta help our clients, and we gotta revive the economy. This is the mission for the sales force and for the businesses. So, and this will return. So back to my goals, right? So like I wanted to keep nothing back. So did I deliver? And if I did, could you please fill out 2 minutes feedback survey? And if you do, I will send you my book. I will give you access to my private Facebook group, and I will send you a record for this workshop. So we're gonna send you that link to the chat box and to the Q&A box. So it's a 2 minute survey, extremely important to me. If you guys can do that, as we agreed, I will send you all these bonuses. Please make sure to include your name and your email address, which is the last question on the survey. This way we'll know where to send these bonuses. Okay, sounds good. So yes, so it is. So it will be sent. So if we can send it to everybody, not just to me. Okay, so like for all attendees, so you do have it in your chat box. If it's not clickable for some reason, just cut and paste it to your browser, and then you'll be able to fill it out. Okay, so I'm gonna go look at the Q&A, see what kind of questions do we have left. So if I have not addressed. Okay, so where is the thing? Okay, so here is what I have. So what approach would you suggest? What approach would you suggest when calling into new accounts now? Okay. Yeah, so that's a good question. So first of all, I wouldn't probably call them. I wouldn't do a cold call. So what I would do, I would probably try to warm up on the social media first. So connect with them on the social media, comment to a couple of their posts if they make them. Then maybe send a couple of emails, like a very short, valuable emails. Don't send just, War and Peace on the first one, on the second one, and then make that phone call. However, if it's a local company, a good approach I've seen, which actually 2 weeks ago, it's HVAC company, and they're calling on the customers who are not doing business with them, and they say like, hey, listen, we know you're working with somebody else. We highly respect them. We're just letting you know we could be your backup supplier. Okay, so we're open for business. And if you have any needs, we are here to support you. So please continue to work with your existing provider. We do respect them. They've been in business for a long time. If you have anything, if you have like anything additional, we could be a good supplement. Here is my number. We're calling everybody, so it's more like a community-based approach. And that seems to work pretty well. So, okay. So what else do we have? If calling on multiple people within an organization, how do you avoid stepping on anybody's toes? Okay, so first of all, I would strongly advise not to step on anybody's toes at any time, and particularly now. So good approach once you start working with somebody, even if it's a gatekeeper. So continue working with them. And maybe be really diplomatic. You would say, okay, listen, I've been doing this for a long time. So in the last 10 years, we never had that type of decisions made without your VP of manufacturing, for example. Would you like me to reach out directly, or would you help me reach out directly? Because we really need to work with them as well. And if they give you permission, of course, you call and say, okay, hey, so I was just speaking to John, he told me to reach out, and there you go. Or they could say, okay, just let me organize a meeting for you. Because what you don't want to do is once you have your champion, you don't want to jump them and just go 3 levels up, and all of a sudden they feel insignificant. All of a sudden you don't matter anymore. Like that's kind of message you don't want to send. So be strategic. And at the same time be respectful, because any gatekeeper, what we call them, is actually your champion. So they could make your life really, really hard if you upset them. Even if you get okay from the top, it would be a nightmare to work with this organization after. Okay. So, and then last question I've seen, we're a small retail shop and we're closed. What should we do now? Okay, so retail environment is difficult. So if you physically shut down, I would probably try to flood the market with the content, right? So just really go on the social media and start creating videos, like how-to videos, like how to do this and that, or top 10 mistakes people make when they're shopping for, or top 5 things you should be looking for when purchasing X, right? And then just start creating those videos. You don't have to be super creative. You basically explain what you do on a daily basis in a narrative format. And then it could be videos, it could be posts, it could be pictures. So anything to stay on top of the mind, because when you do open up, then you will have a list. And that list is actually going to remember that you stay connected with them during the hard times. So, all right, so that's all the time we have. So thank you so much for coming. If there's any additional questions, so please shoot me an email. I will look forward to your survey responses. Hopefully it was of value. Again, so stay strong. It's up to us, to salespeople, to change this world. I do believe it. If you need any help, reach out. Happy to help. So thank you so much and have a good night. Stay safe, stay vigilant. Thank you.